When you're down on 1403, you're always searching for something. Whether it's money, loot, or an adrenaline rush, you're searching. Sometimes, you find it. And sometimes, it finds you. Welcome back to The Drop. This is episode 3 of this series. We will be making our way through the drop on 1403 while I talk about my tactics and drop logic, from landing to possible evac. So, this is mostly a guide series on learning good habits. If you like cycle guides and cycle content in general, go ahead and hit that sub for future content. Now on with The Drop. I start off dropping on a beach by water facility. Upon landing, I see there is a meteor landing nearby, so I head towards it. I came down to 1403 this time for one thing and one thing only. One radio equipment. I managed to get all of the resin guns and marauder flesh I needed for my quarters upgrades, but neglected to get the exact amount of radio equipment I needed. This is unfortunate for me, since the fastest way to deprive the planet of something is to need exactly one of it. We've all been there, looking for something that is normally everywhere, but suddenly it's nowhere to be found. I enter the water facility when I hear a voice from my left.
Yo, you friendly, bro?
Yeah. Heading west from here, man.
Alright, cool. Good luck, man.
Note that at no point I allowed this person to have a clean line of sight of me. Generally, I always recommend when using VoIP, do so from a position of safety or a position of strength. I don't want to linger in the area, so I move on. I notice another player in the distance. I don't feel like making this drop longer than it needs to, so I put out my peace post while still maintaining a superior position. I move past him, maintaining high ground and keeping tabs on his audio cues. I move towards Swamp Camp. I find no radio equipment. I move towards Southwest Collection Point, and still, no radio equipment. I even check out Power Plant, and no radio equipment. Finally, I just go ahead and start heading towards base camp. I run into the It Man of Striders along the way.
Oh my god!
As I approach the office entrance, I notice a dead body, minus the bag. I make sure to check the corners and close the door before I begin to loot. When I start hearing footsteps. Based off the sounds, he's crouch walking, and with that kind of volume, he's either right on the other side of that door, or he's below in the tunnel. Hearing the door activate tells me he's in the tunnel, but since there's a body here, he might not be the only one here. I clear the office, find my radio equipment, and loot the body at the entrance. Just in case you didn't know, bags despawn faster than everything else. I clear the mobs, and right after, I hear mob aggro along the path. If you haven't seen it already, you can watch my How to Avoid Dying Like That video linked above. After looting his Mark II and a blue bag, I step out to my evac. A lot of the time, smoking it deters all but the most aggressive pushers. So I finally made it back to my quarters only to be met with this.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
You see, in my haste, I wasn't paying attention to the exact number, and I thought I saw 14, when in reality, it was 13. So back down we went. And wouldn't you know it, I got the same spawn with the same evac. Well, let's hope for a quicker item find so we can log off for the night. So I figured just head towards the evac and I'm bound to find radio equipment. I enter the water facility from the fence hop as I generally like to avoid entryways that put me on low ground with plenty of sightlines. I see spinal bases and I don't hear mobs inside the facility. So I start to look for loot, but I run an S pattern in order to make my movement harder to track and to be able to check corners without face checking them. And suddenly, I hear a grunt. Once I heard him jumping on metal, I know he's going to have the high ground advantage. I displace multiple times and move up the ramp to give myself a strong position. Hearing the grenade go off tells me he wasn't accidentally moving towards me. I thought for sure he'd run after the first exchange, so when he didn't, it was very much an all-in maneuver. Normally, I don't pick up gray bolties as they're not worth the weight in a bag, but it provided my loadout some flexibilities, and weapons weigh nothing when they're equipped. Moving on, I hear the very distinct sound of a strider being killed close by. Unfortunately, they got away. I foolishly took the time to reload the sniper rifle instead of just pushing. I could have even dropped the sniper rifle and equipped my second PDW, but when I took the time to secure my radio equipment, it gave him all the time he needed to get away. Finally, being able to acquire what I needed, I make my way to the evac and call it a night. The reason I was prioritizing this particular quarters upgrade is that it would allow me to start upgrading the last 2 levels of my supply crate, which starts to create a lot of value. As of the time of this recording, I've gotten multiple purple items and a consistent supply of blue items, though I don't really have much need of them. This is just to say these investments start to pay themselves back pretty consistently, so it's wise not to neglect them. If you're looking for more cycle guides and cycle related content, check these videos out. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, good hunting.